MPs. So there will now be a vote of confidence in my leadership of the Conservative Party. I will contest that vote with everything I've got. A change of leadership in the Conservative Party now will put our country's future at risk and create uncertainty when we can least afford it. A new leader wouldn't be in place by the 21st of January legal deadline, so a leadership election risks handing control of the Brexit negotiations to opposition MPs in Parliament. The new leader wouldn't have time to renegotiate a withdrawal agreement and get the legislation through Parliament by the 29th of March, so one of their first acts would have to be extending or rescinding Article 50, delaying or even stopping Brexit.
As has happened before on occasions such as this, I go back to John Major in 1995, the Prime Minister had the small matter of Prime Minister's questions. The Cabinet meeting was cancelled. She should be in Ireland visiting and meeting and trying to persuade the Taoiseach Leo Varadkar right now. That was cancelled too. But Prime Minister's questions went ahead, and there were some fairly angry exchanges with the opposition leader, Jeremy Corbyn. May well have played into her hands in terms of the audience for this PMQs today for her was just her backbench MPs. This is a flavour of what we saw in the Commons chamber at lunchtime today.
I'm interested that the Right Honourable Gentleman wants to know what progress we have made, because actually the Right Honourable Gentleman couldn't care less what I bring back from Brussels. He's being clear. Whatever comes back from Brussels, he's going to vote against it, because all he wants to do is to create chaos in our economy. Division in our society and damage to our economy. That's Labour, that's Corbyn.
This House agreed a programme motion. Yes. This House agreed the 5 days of debate. This House agreed when the vote was going to take place. The government tried to unilaterally pull that and deny this House the chance of a vote on this crucial matter. The Prime Minister and her government have already been found to be in contempt of Parliament. Her behaviour today is just contemptuous of this Parliament and of this process.
Jeremy Corbyn there at Prime Minister's questions early today. The opposition leader not on the firmest of grounds, given the fact that in 2016 he had 170 of his own MPs vote no confidence in him and just 40 voting call confidence. It's all pretty febrile here. Our latest Sky tally of Tory MPs who have indicated publicly and privately to us that they will vote for her is 177. Now, that would be past the winning mark in terms of a simple majority of MPs, but I mean, I've literally seen people who have said that they're going to back her in public then come up to me and say that they're not actually going to back her. Be very careful. The word from Chris Grayling, the chair of Mrs May's campaign in 2016, was watch out for tricksiness, varying degrees of confidence from different ministers, and the amount of victory, the margin of victory, extremely important too. But we've been getting some fairly extraordinary responses from the supportive cabinet ministers. Let's just take Philip Hammond, the Chancellor, and just have a listen to how he refers to some of the Brexiters that have forced this vote.
I'm very clear that the Prime Minister will have the support of the great majority of parliamentary colleagues, and I think what this vote today will do is flush out the extremists who are trying to advance a particular agenda.
If a deal went through with the backstop, we lose the DUP, we lose a vote of confidence, we don't have a government. So, determined to stick to that, I thought, sadly, I really came to the conclusion that we would dribble through Christmas, we'd get to January, we'd still be talking about this deal, which is unacceptable. Much better, actually, would have been to have had the vote to kill the deal completely and gone back to the European Union with a mandate to say, right, we want to take up the big, brave offer made by President Tusk 7th of March for a wide-ranging free trade deal.
That was Owen Paterson, the former Cabinet Minister, following on from the Chancellor. Owen Paterson, of course, has said that he will vote against the Prime Minister, vote no confidence in her on the basis of her Brexit deal and being deeply unhappy with that. Now, the challenge for the PM is to keep those numbers down, turn out those MPs that have already publicly pledged, and she will win. But still, the numbers that vote against her could be uncomfortably high, and we have seen in history that the numbers, if they are too high, even if they win the simple majority or get through to the next round, that can still be a problem. The men and women in grey coats may make a visit if that number is too high. Various expectations management games going on about what would be the virtual line above which she may need to ponder her position in any event. Is it 80? Is it 100? Is it 130? We will see how the politics of this plays out after the result at 9, but an exceptionally big night in British politics. And let's go over to our editor-at-large, Adam Bolton, who is in Downing Street. Adam.
Well, yes, indeed, Faisal. We've seen some pretty momentous politics in the past at Christmas time with the Downing Street Christmas tree in front of the door of number 10. One thinks of some of the breakthroughs in the Northern Ireland peace process and, of course, that end-of-year ousting of Margaret Thatcher, which took place just before. I think the key thing, though, is that it seems that for every contest, the rules have changed slightly. And what, of course, is very important is that if Mrs May survives the vote tonight, as our public tally at least suggests she will, her MPs will not be able to challenge her for another 12 months, which means obviously she would, as she's always intended, see Britain past the point of leaving the European Union in the end of March the 29th next year. That said, it's very clear that although this is about the Prime Minister and her future, whether she's going to go on being able to lead the Conservative Party, everyone I've talked to today, everyone we've talked to on Sky, it's very clear this is really about Brexit. The situation is that the section of the Conservative Party associated with the European Research Group, some people call them hard Brexiteers, have decided after 2.5 years of negotiation with the European Union that somehow the Prime Minister has failed to secure a deal which will take Britain out of the European Union. A lot of other people say, well, this is Brexit. That's what Michael Gove says, for example. But anyway, those Brexiteers don't like it. And because they don't like it, they say they won't vote for it. That has put Mrs May in the position of having to suspend the vote. And now those same Brexiteers are trying to get rid of her in the hope that they can further a much harder sort of Brexit with much closer, much more distant association between the UK and the European Union going forward. The other big difference, of course, is Mrs May only needs to win by one vote, 158, 159, and she will have won, whereas in the past you've had to get weighted majorities to be sure of seeing off a challenge. So that is the figure to look to tonight. We know that 2 MPs who had the whip suspended, Charlie Elphicke and Andrew Griffiths, have had the whip restored. So the Parliamentary Conservative Party will be voting at maximum strength. If it goes against Mrs May, she's out, and the jostling to be the next leader of the Conservative Party, and with it the Prime Minister, will start tomorrow. That's the picture in Downing Street. Let's go back to Dermot outside the Palace of Westminster.
Indeed. OK, Adam, thank you very much indeed. Well, drama, as we know, taking place right now behind those windows in Committee Room 14, where the Conservatives have gathered inside the Houses of Parliament there overlooking the Thames, deciding Theresa May's future. We understand she's talking right now, trying to convince them to support her in that ballot. Well, let's talk to our Deputy Political Editor, Beth Rigby, and we're getting some sense of the pitch that Theresa May is making.
I'm getting some messages from inside the room. This is one. Has she said when she will step down as leader? She's told MPs that in her heart she'd like to carry on into the next election, but she recognises that the party does not want her to, so it is not her intention to. She won't, I'm told by sources inside the room, give a date as to when she'll step down. She will only say it's an intention. One Brexiteer suggesting to me it's not even clear about 2022. But look, Dermot, this was what we thought might happen going into that room. Some Brexiteers, such as a Michael Gove type character, would say, let's get to Brexit, then change the leader, and then we can have a different type of leader, a Brexiteer, to renegotiate a free trade deal. It seems to me that she has now perhaps heeded those words from perhaps some Brexiteers. She's had a series of one-on-one meetings with waverers today, and maybe she's concluded that one way of getting that vote over the line, one way of getting more support, is to now say to the party, I want to stay on, I recognise that you don't want me to, help me get through Brexit, and then I will step down and you can replace me. I mean, look, in a way, you know, you and I did the snap election. And also, the writing was on the wall. If you go into an election with a 20-point plus lead and you come out losing your majority in the House of Commons, whatever the fundamentals on Brexit, it's unlikely that your MPs are going to want to go into battle with you again in another election, isn't there?
Beth, much more analysis coming up, of course, and I'm sure you'll get much more information about what's going on inside that committee room 14. For the time being, thank you very much. We're going to take a brief break. Real political drama tonight taking place in that room. Whichever way that vote goes, you won't miss a twist or a turn right here on Sky News. Back very soon.